a young woman named Emily. She's 28 years old, with warm brown eyes that seem to carry the weight of the world, and a smile that flickers like a candle in the wind, sometimes bright, sometimes barely there. Her dark hair is tied back in a messy ponytail, and she's wearing a faded hoodie that's seen better days. Emily is a single mom, and her life revolves around her 8-month-old baby boy, Noah. Noah is her everything, her joy, her struggle, her reason to keep going. Emily's life hasn't been easy. She grew up in a small town, raised by a single mom herself, and always dreamed of breaking the cycle. She worked hard, got a scholarship to college, and landed a decent job in the city. But life had other plans. When she found out she was pregnant, the father walked out, leaving her to face the challenges of motherhood alone. Emily's mom passed away a year before Noah was born, so she has no family to lean on. It's just her and Noah against the world. The story takes place on a crowded airplane. Emily is flying across the country to start a new chapter in her life. She's moving to a new city, hoping for a fresh start. She's nervous but determined. She spent weeks preparing for this trip, packing, planning, and praying that everything goes smoothly. But deep down, she's terrified. Traveling alone with a baby is no small feat, and she knows how quickly things can go wrong. The plane is packed. Passengers are shuffling down the aisle, stowing luggage, and settling into their seats. Emily is seated in the middle row, near the back of the plane. Noah is strapped to her chest in a baby carrier, his tiny hands clutching her hoodie. He's been fussy all morning, and Emily is already exhausted. She's been up since 4 a.m., trying to get everything ready for the trip. Her nerves are frayed, and she's praying that Noah will sleep through the flight. As the plane takes off, Noah starts to cry. At first, it's just a soft whimper, but it quickly escalates into full-blown wails. Emily's heart sinks. She tries everything, rocking him, singing to him, offering him a bottle, but nothing works. The other passengers are starting to notice. She can feel their eyes on her, their silent judgments. A man in the row ahead of her turns around and glares. A woman across the aisle sighs loudly and rolls her eyes. Emily feels a lump in her throat. She's doing her best, but it's not enough. She's overwhelmed, embarrassed, and on the verge of tears. She whispers to Noah, "Please, baby, just stop crying. Mommy's here. It's okay." But Noah keeps crying, his tiny face red and scrunched up in distress. The flight attendant comes by and offers a sympathetic smile. "Is there anything I can do to help?" she asks. Emily shakes her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "No, thank you. I'm sorry," she whispers. The flight attendant pats her shoulder and moves on, but Emily feels even more alone. This is the moment when everything feels like it's falling apart. Emily is trapped in a metal tube, 30,000 feet in the air, with a screaming baby and a plane full of strangers who probably think she's a terrible mom. She feels like she's failing Noah, failing herself, failing at life. She closes her eyes and takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. But inside, she's breaking. Just when Emily feels like she can't take it anymore, something unexpected happens. A woman sitting across the aisle leans over and says, "Hey, can I help?" Emily looks up, startled. The woman is in her late 50s, with kind eyes and a warm smile. She's wearing a simple sweater and jeans, and there's something about her that feels safe, like a lifeline in the middle of a storm. Emily hesitates. She's not used to accepting help from strangers. But the woman's kindness is so genuine, so disarming, that she finds herself nodding. "Okay," she whispers. The woman unbuckles her seatbelt and moves to the empty seat next to Emily. She reaches out her arms, and Emily carefully transfers Noah into them. The woman cradles Noah gently, rocking him back and forth. She starts humming a soft lullaby, her voice soothing and steady. Slowly, Noah's cries begin to subside. His little body relaxes, and his eyes start to droop. Emily watches in awe, tears streaming down her face. She can't believe it. This stranger, this kind woman, has done what she couldn't. The woman looks at Emily and smiles. "It's okay, sweetheart. You're doing a great job," she says. Emily feels a wave of relief wash over her. For the first time in what feels like forever, she doesn't feel alone. She feels seen, understood, and supported. As the flight continues, the woman stays by Emily's side. They talk quietly, sharing bits and pieces of their lives. The woman's name is Margaret, and she's a retired nurse. She's flying to visit her daughter, who just had a baby of her own. Margaret tells Emily about her own struggles as a young mom, how she often felt overwhelmed and alone. "But you know what?" she says. "It gets better. You'll find your way, and you're stronger than you think." Emily listens, hanging on every word. Margaret's kindness feels like a balm to her wounded soul. For the first time in a long time, she feels a glimmer of hope. Maybe things will get better. Maybe she's not as alone as she feels. But just as Emily starts to relax, the plane hits a patch of turbulence. The seatbelt sign dings, and the captain's voice comes over the intercom, instructing everyone to return to their seats. Margaret hands Noah back to Emily and gives her hand a reassuring squeeze. "You've got this," she says before returning to her seat. The turbulence grows worse, and the plane starts to shake violently. Passengers gasp and clutch their armrests. Emily holds Noah tightly, as her heart racing. She's terrified, not just for herself, but for her baby. What if something happens? What if they don't make it? The plane lurches, and there's a loud bang. Oxygen masks drop from the ceiling, and chaos erupts. Passengers scream, and the flight attendants rush to secure the cabin. Emily's mind races. She's never been so scared in her life. She looks over at Margaret, who is calmly putting on her oxygen mask. Margaret catches her eye and gives her a reassuring nod. "Stay calm," she mouths. "You're going to be okay." Emily takes a deep breath and tries to steady herself. She puts on her oxygen mask and then helps Noah with his. The plane continues to shake, but she focuses on Margaret's words. "You're going to be okay." She repeats it like a mantra, holding Noah close and praying for the storm to pass. After what feels like an eternity, the turbulence subsides. The plane stabilizes, and the captain announces that they're through the worst of it. The cabin erupts in relieved applause, but Emily is still shaking. She looks over at Margaret, who gives her a thumbs up and a smile as the flight continues. Emily can't stop thinking about what just happened. She feels a deep sense of gratitude for Margaret's kindness and support, but there's also a nagging feeling in the back of her mind, a sense that there's more to Margaret than meets the eye. When the plane finally lands, Emily gathers her things and prepares to disembark. She turns to thank Margaret, but the woman is already gone. Emily scans the crowd, but there's no sign of her. It's as if she vanished into thin air. Confused and a little unsettled, Emily makes her way to baggage claim. As she waits for her luggage, she notices a familiar face in the crowd. It's Margaret. Emily's heart leaps, and she hurries over to her. "Margaret," she calls out. But when the woman turns around, it's not Margaret. It's someone who looks just like her, but younger. The woman smiles at Emily. "Can I help you?" she asks. Emily stammers. I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else." The woman nods and walks away, leaving Emily even more confused. As Emily leaves the airport, she can't shake the feeling that something strange is going on. She decides to do a little digging. She searches online for Margaret's name, but nothing comes up. It's as if the woman never existed. Days turn into weeks, and Emily can't stop thinking about Margaret. She starts to wonder if she imagined the whole thing. But then, one day, she receives a package in the mail. It's a small box with no return address. Inside, she finds a handwritten note and a locket. The note reads, "Dear Emily, you are stronger than you know. Never forget that. Love, Margaret." Emily opens the locket and finds a tiny photo inside. It's a picture of her and Noah, taken on the plane. But how? She never gave Margaret her address. And who took the photo? Emily's mind races. She feels a mix of emotions, gratitude, confusion, and a strange sense of peace. She doesn't know how or why, but she knows that Margaret was real, and she knows that her kindness changed her life. Emily keeps the locket with her always, a reminder of the kindness she received when she needed it most. She starts to see the world differently, noticing the small acts of kindness that happen every day. She pays it forward, helping others whenever she can, and teaching Noah the importance of compassion and empathy. Years later, when Noah is old enough to understand, Emily tells him the story of the kind stranger on the plane. She tells him how Margaret's kindness gave her hope and strength when she felt like giving up. She tells him that even in the darkest moments, there is light, if we're willing to look for it. Emily and Noah visiting a park on a sunny afternoon. Emily watches as Noah runs and plays, his laughter filling the air. She feels a deep sense of gratitude for the life they've built together. It hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. As they leave the park, Emily notices an elderly woman sitting on a bench, feeding the birds. The woman looks up and smiles, and for a moment, Emily's breath catches in her throat. The woman looks just like Margaret. Emily hesitates, then walks over to her. "Excuse me," she says. "Do I know you?" The woman smiled kindly. "I don't think so, dear," she says. "But it's nice to meet you." Emily nods, feeling a mix of emotions. She knows it's not Margaret, but the resemblance is uncanny. She thanks the woman and walks away, holding Noah's hand. As they walk, Emily feels a sense of closure. She doesn't need to know who Margaret was or where she came from. All that matters is the impact she had on her life. Margaret's kindness was a gift, a reminder that even in the hardest times, we're never truly alone. The story ends with a powerful message. Kindness is a ripple that spreads far beyond the moment it's given. It has the power to change lives, to bring hope, and to remind us of the goodness in the world. So be kind, always. You never know whose life you might change. If this story inspired you or gave you chills, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends and family, and if you want more powerful and emotional stories like this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below about this story, and if you enjoyed this story, give it a big thumbs up. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that touch hearts and inspire change. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.